Hi, this is Zuba here, and I haven't actually put out a video because I was spending a lot of time actually looking at the patch notes and trying to figure out things. I really don't want to be like all the other content creators because I think most people just do this to get views. Or was it long duration views? I mean, I'm just gonna give you my opinions. I'm not just gonna briefly run through the whole thing. I'll tell you my opinions, right? These are just my opinions. There's no objective truth to it. All right, I have certain opinions on things, and I'll just tell you what they are. So yeah. Anyway, let's briefly run through this. Whatever. So Crucible Challenge League seems to be an arena-based challenge league, kind of like Ultimatum, which means tankiness is important, clear is important, right? But when you go to the boosted version of it, right, which is, I don't know what's it called, the one where you crack the geode open and then you whatever that shit is. That one seems to be similar, but a lot tougher. So it remains to be seen if you need more damage, do you need survivability? Because in that one, if you don't clear stuff out now, probably you're gonna get wiped. So that's just my 2 cents on the league mechanic. About the rewards from the league mechanic, I think it will enable a lot of new options, enable a lot of new things. I think it's interesting that they have decided to make it more restrictive for uniques to get these benefits, because obviously uniques are very, very strong when you slap on like just anything like this, where you give raw power to like a base item. Uniques generally tend to do better because there's consistency in uniques. With it being with rares, like more accessible rares, it means that rares are definitely going to be better in a sense. But at the same time, most people would think this is an attack build league, and I pretty much beg to differ. And the problem is, to get a good weapon with decent attack stats with a good crucible tree is just extremely unlikely, right? And as a result, I don't think starting an attack build is extremely smart. I don't think it's smart. Unless you somehow have a lot of resources, you're a streamer, you get money from pouring out of your nose, you're not going to be able to afford a weapon that has decent attack damage and at the same time has a decent tree on it. So I'm leaning towards a spellcaster. I'm leaning towards spell damage scaling. Spell damage scaling wasn't nerfed in this current patch, which means it still remains to be one of the strongest ways of scaling damage early. And that's what I observe, yeah. New Val skills, other than Val, what was it? Val Reap. Rest of it's kind of meh, right? Val Lightning Arrow seems cool, but the problem is base Val skill for Lightning Arrows is the base skill for Lightning Arrow is kind of meh. Ice Shot might be cool. Enemy weapon might be cool. Absolutions and minion stuff. So I mean, I personally don't think it's anything substantial to play around with. I really have to see the soul gain delay, whatever they called it. Soul prevention, delay. Because if it's short enough, then it will be cool. Because like Ground Slam, that is probably one of the best Val skills around in terms of being able to just chain it over and over again. But I'm not sure how these will work, so we'll just have to wait it out. League revamps for Breach and Abyss. I like the Abyss drops. I don't like the Abyss mechanic. I don't think this solves them Abyss mechanic problems. I think the problem with Abyss is just you don't like the backtrack, right? You never like the backtrack on a map. So if this still it has some form of backtracking, people will still look at it and say, this sucks. I don't want to do this. And the fact that you have Stygian Spire spawning in the map itself instead of a separate area, I don't think that's it will depends. If abyssal depths are just as common as they were before, I think that's fine, because people do like abyssal depths, right, in terms of the EXP gain. But at the same time, I don't really like Abyss for the reasons that the mechanics feel bad. Like, you have to backtrack, and if they don't solve the backtracking issue, people just won't run it. So I think drops are good for Abyss. These changes are nice, but the core problem why most people don't like to run Abyss is still there. Breach is cool. I think item changes are cool. There's a lot of new things to play around with. I like how access to Flawless breach tones are now more restrictive to the content itself rather than something else. Unfortunately, this means Maven is going to be less, Maven boss invite is going to be less important in this. But I do like every change with Breach. So I think Breach is, it used to be like you only expect Breach in your Atlas tree if you really enjoy Breach. But I think now if you, you know, it's a viable, like, it's a viable thing to spec into if you just want to, if you just like the density and the clear. Especially go for a build like an Ignite Prolif build or Poison Prolif or Explosions like Profane Bloom. Breach is going to be really fun for you. So I mean, the changes are nice. Anyway, move down. Atlas changes. I like the ability to skip from one point of the tree to another. Right. So this is Atlas. Sorry, this is maps. I mean, this doesn't really matter. New maps, old maps, whatever. Yeah. But Atlas tree changes. The ability to skip from one point of the Atlas tree to the other is super cool. It enables new, in a sense, new trees. You could go left side for some things and right side for some things, and you used to not be able to do that. So I think that's pretty fun. In fact, with breach changes, you could run breach and delirium, which I think it was very hard to do so before. You had to pretty much path all the way through the tree. Now you can go delirium on the left side, and then you jump to the right, take the breach nodes, and then with the increased breach density, your delirium is going to be like super dense, right? Yeah, so something like that. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, mastery changes. Some of the new masteries are pretty cool, but they're on clusters that you won't normally go for, right? I'm not sure most people would like to go for a leech cluster, right? So I mean, although the leech has clusters, leech masteries have some pretty noticeable improvements, would you even go a leech cluster in the first place, right? So I think this overall, right? So if you look at it from my perspective, I think this overall is a general nerf. You lose some power, right? Especially with regards to the reservation ones, especially for skitterboards, for grace, determination. Losing reservation is the equivalent of losing damage, right? It's not losing survivability. You're still gonna run defensive auras. The difference is you don't have as much remaining mana to be able to reserve damage auras or heralds, etc. So what I'm trying to say is you lose damage. So a lot of the changes to masteries actually constitutes some form of damage loss across the board, and it affects some builds more than others. Like if you look at lightning masteries, they lost chain, extra chain, and they lost non-crit lucky damage, and that is I think almost like a 40% decrease in damage for something like Arc, right? So Arc Knight is like dead. Arc is dead, that sort of thing. Even though Arc was like not popular at all, which is very confusing for me. Why would you even want to nerf one? Yeah, I don't. Anyway, that I have nothing to say. It's understandable if they removed Ignite, the fire damage multiplier, damage over time multiplier, because it was pretty strong, and Ignite has been a pretty strong archetype for a while. So yeah, it's gone, but I think Ignite is still pretty viable, even though you lose damage. But they pretty much killed Arc, right? So I'm not happy with the lightning changes, but fire is pretty cool. I'm also not happy with the loss of generic Impale chance on physical, as well as the loss of lingering blades on physical, right? Because Blade Blast was a very niche playstyle. It was good, it was strong, but it's a very niche playstyle, and only a few people really enjoy it, especially the Impale version. And with this change, it kind of feels gutted. I don't think it moved anywhere else. So I have nothing to say about that. It just feels bad. All right. There has been some buffs. So in terms of masteries alone, traps did get 8% more damage. Even though, to be honest, there is some damage lost for sabos, for traps, because of the change in ascendancy. But let's go to that later. There is also the reservation loss. Yeah, let me see what else. All right, spell suppression did get quite a significant loss of crit chance. Unfortunate, but I do think spell suppression clusters were too strong, and then because they were too strong, you'd always get the cluster, and then you get the mastery, right? So it was almost guaranteed that you go for crit and you go for 100% free crit essentially. So this change is actually, I would think, warranted because spell suppression is just way too good. But yeah, that being said, I think overall all the mastery changes, there is some quality of life improvements, but there has mostly been damage nerfs, right? It's not survivability nerfs, it's damage nerfs, right? At the same time, I do believe that at this current state in the game, we do have enough damage, right? We tend to, by week 2 or week 1, have, like, on average, a decent build would have 20 million boss damage. So I don't think of it as a problem that you lose like 20 to 30% DPS. It only just means that your scaling is going to be slower. So to get damage where you're comfortable, it's going to take longer, right? Because you need better gear. And I don't think of it as too much of a problem. At the same time, because Crucible is supposed to give you damage, right? Crucible masteries, not masteries, Crucible rewards are supposed to give you damage, from what I see. So I don't think you should think about it too much as a nerf. I think overall, by week 2, you have the same amount of damage as you had before if you have a decent Crucible tree, and you should be fine. All right, but getting there is going to be slower. I personally don't think of it as a problem, but you might. Right? Let's move on. Bows did get a buff, I think, because bow attacks fire additional arrow is very, very strong. It is also very strong for tornado shot specifically, so, and barrage. So I think this is an overall buff, and that's cool. Yeah. Anyway, the rest of it is kind of like whatever. It's cool. There's some special stuff you could probably do with the stance. What was it called? Stance swapping for adrenaline. It sounds like a pain to constantly do that, but it does. If you can activate a 50% uptime adrenaline, I think that's kind of cool, even though it costs quite a bit of points. Yeah. Arcane Surge for Hierophants apparently is stronger, so buff for Hierophant self-cast. Okay, ascendancy changes. Sabo was a very strong class before this ascendancy, because traps and mines were a very strong archetype. Okay, now with the changes to Saboteur, trap playstyles have gotten a nerf. Seismic trap, explosive trap, what is it, ice trap? Ice trap got enough because you lose the damage, percentage increased damage for each trap. So your preloaded damage is going to drop, right? You're no longer going to be able to preload and do like a shit ton of preload damage with traps. So trap playstyles have gotten a bit nerfed, especially regards to bossing. You also lose the 25% chance for traps to trigger an additional time, because that is a 25% less damage, which is unfortunate. So overall, traps on the tree got a buff, but Saboteur trap specifically got a nerf. Does it make sense to you? Okay. Mines seem to be exactly the same. The things that scaled mines pretty much stayed. So Sabo mines would be interestingly a strong option next league. And I really want to try this trigger bots. I'm not sure if trigger bots apply to mines. Hopefully it does, but I'm willing to try it out. Personally, this makes me want to play Sabo at a league start because mine and trap playstyles, mine playstyles especially, are very, very strong at league start. Because you can pretty much do every single map mod. And yeah, yeah, you get what I mean. And when you go to Pathfinder, right? Pathfinder is cool. Pathfinder has always been, you had a few strong ascendancies, and the rest were kind of like, meh. You added them because you had points, right? So this actually gives you more opportunities to specialize in something that is unique. So I think the Pathfinder change is actually way bigger than the Saboteur change. Even though Saboteurs have a lot more, I would say that these changes were a lot more significant in what they changed, right? It gave you ability to play cast and crit, cast while channeling, etc. on a Sabo, Spell Slinger on a Sabo. But yeah, Pathfinder, it really opens up a lot of different things for Pathfinder now. Pathfinder will no longer be known as the flask only build ascendancy. It's not there as a flask bot. You're not just specializing to just get insane flask effect and then keep your flask permanently uptime. And it's not the mage, what's it called, mage blood class, right? So I think that's cool. I do like the wither. So with getting chance to wither is actually very tough on a build. You usually have to get a timeless jewel, with the right notable. So not having to have that timeless jewel, the notable, gives you more options, especially if you want to go poison build. So I like the changes here on Pathfinder. I think Pathfinder is quite competitive. I think Pathfinder poisons probably way better. So League Starting Pathfinder will be something interesting for a lot of people. I think people will want to go for that. I do kind of observe that Poison Concoction probably got enough, right? So the changes here, and the flask changes as well for Poison Concoction, I believe. And you don't really necessarily, I mean, Poison Concoction League Start is still strong, right? I'm not saying that it's not strong. It's still strong. It's just not going to be as strong as it used to be. So the speed at which you progress is going to be slower. That being said, other poison options for Pathfinder, spell-based poisons, I think will be better on a Pathfinder, and it will be very interesting to see what people do with spell-based poisons on Pathfinder for next league. Alright, Ascendant change. This is a pretty big nerf for Sabo because you lose the ability to play a life-based Sabo minor build, which is what I did for the Ruthless with Gold event. Which, I mean, you could still do that build on a Sabo, you just won't be able to do it on an Ascendant. Alright, so that's the difference here. Anyway, let's move on. New gems, I think it's cool. Thing is, they haven't given us any data on this, so I can't tell you whether or not it's worth going. So let's move on. Skill balance changes, I don't think any massive differences. I really don't know why these things were changed, but whatever. Also support, pretty cool, that's fine. And yeah. Okay, this change. Scepters were the primary way to do mace / scepter attack build scaling because the base attacks on your scepters were so strong. And also because if you were going an elemental damage based build, the elemental rolls on a scepter were pretty much fixed, right? You didn't really care about the base physical damage. So this is actually an overall nerf for attack based scepter builds, which is unfortunate. I think this strategy of doing this is kind of weird because they shouldn't have nerf scepters. Okay, scepters should have gotten nerfed, maybe a little, right? You could reduce maybe about from 1.5 to 1.35, but 1.20 is absolute garbage, right? But I do understand where they're coming from. It's not, although the justification here is they don't want scepters to be used in attack builds, the more clear answer is they don't want scepters and leap slam to be they don't want mobility access for spellcasters, is what I understand, because you'd run a scepter that had basically spell damage on it, and because of its high base attack speed you could just leap slam around. They don't want that. So they're removing this from Scepters mainly to nerf spell classes. I don't think the nerf attack builds. It does indirectly nerf attack builds, but I think it's there because they just don't want people to leap slam around quickly with a spell build. Right? They want spell builds to have a loss of mobility but have like decent clear damage. I don't know. They should have nerfed buffed the maces, because I think the problems on maces are pretty bad. But you know, I don't see any changes to maces, so pretty much nobody's gonna run one-handed maces or scepters. That's what I understand from a tag build perspective. All right, so one vendor recipe changes. The one changes are interesting because it means that, okay, so think about it this way: the percentage spell damage is a lot better for a minor build, for a trap build now. But because it's gone, you're gonna run probably scepters on those. The flat damage is cool probably for some spells, but not for all spells, especially because it is a elemental specific damage on different kinds of wands. So I think this is an overall nerf to spell builds. I feel it remains to be seen how much of a nerf this is. All right, so that's cool. Let's move on. Item balance, bow builds nerfed because synthesis, bow attacks firing additional arrow, basically gave a lot of top end scaling for bows. It doesn't really affect you as an average player. This only affects the very rich multi-mirror characters. So whatever, it's fine. Okay. No longer create books of regression, no more endless heist. It doesn't affect most players, only a small group of players who somehow love to play heist at level 60. I don't know. Anyway, that's fine. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So let's go with league starters. I'm gonna briefly describe what I have, what I used to have as a league starter. So what I used to want to run as a league starter was this champion build. What the fuck is it? Okay, this was my original plan. All right, this was my original plan. I am not likely to go ahead with this plan anymore because of the nerfs to the skill tree. Right, you lose lightning mastery. Woo. You lose this grace mastery. You lose this determination mastery. Look at this. How unfortunate. I probably have to drop some damage like rough. So I'll give you an example. Here you go. Where is rough? By rough. Blood and sand. What else is there to make up for it? I don't think Herald Thunder is any good. Herald Thunder? Okay, that would be the change, right? You would drop Wrath, you go Blood and Sand, Herald Thunder, and you look at the damage. Went down by 30%. Oh, wow, amazing. So this build is supposed to function on a few core mechanics. You can notice that I didn't have every slot filled up, which kind of tells you how much damage this does. If you go to this as well, okay, it is level 20, so unfortunately that's a bit unrealistic there. Yeah, these are all level 20. Yeah, that's a bit unrealistic. Whatever, that's cool. So the whole theory behind this is using Realm's Recruito, which is extremely good, I think. Increase and reductions to cast speed applied to attack speed. Okay, so what you have is you're going to have Vow Haste. Where's my Vow Haste? So you can enable Vow Haste. Ooh, look at the damage increase. Okay, so you're going to have Vow Haste. You're going to have Smite, Vow Smite on your boots. So your boots are March of the Legion with +5 level of socketed aura gems. You can get it to +9 on both your auras because you get double implicits if you corrupt them. So you can have a level 29 Vow Smite. Wait, what's this? I didn't socket the boots? Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Damage is not bad, okay? Damage is not bad. If I get boots with double implicits, let's see, corrupt, implicit, duration, I believe. duration, and AoE. You can see the damage go up pretty nicely, yeah? Okay. So, with these Succulent Boots, you have level 29 Smite, you have level 29 Haste, right? Wait, you don't need Divine Blessing in Boots. Alright, that's cool. Yeah. So, what you do is you have about 600 energy shield, haste on Divine Blessing because it's March of Legion is going to cost you about 500 energy shield. You do have Eldritch Battery over here, and then you basically can take Vaal Haste whenever you need to for a damage spike. You're not going to use Vaal Smite. I don't know why I have Vaal Smite here. So how it's going to work is haste is going to basically allow you to double dip, right? So you and nearby allies get 34% increased attack speed and cast speed, which gives you 68% increased attack speed on your totems, right? Because of Wilma's Recruito. The reason why you go Smite is because Smite's going to do this for you. Doriani's Touch or Doriani's Fist gives you Doriani's Touch. And what Doriani's Touch gives you is that Doriani's Touch, shit, doesn't show. Anyway, Doriani's Touch is a 600% damage effectiveness of unarmed attacks. So what that means is any flat damage you have is going to get a 600% damage multiplier on it. And that's the reason why you're going, well, it would have gone Wrath earlier, but now you don't have Wrath. But that's why you're going Smite. So you're getting a lot of free steroids here. You're getting the steroid from attack speed from Wilma's, and you're getting the steroid from flat from Vaal Smite or Smite on March of the Legion. So you're gonna get pretty good damage. So by about day 2 or 3, I would say you're gonna look at about maybe less than this. Let me just take it down, right? Alright, let me just take this down so it's not so unrealistic. 18 sounds cool for a day 2 setup. And then I get a new March of Legion without the implicits. Although I'm pretty sure you could buy the implicits early. Actually maybe not. No, yeah, maybe not. You're gonna have about 2 mil damage day 2, which I think is pretty reasonable. Let's drop this to 2. Okay, you're gonna have about close to 2 mil damage at about day 2. All right. Yeah. And obviously you have more slots you can fill up. Obviously not the weapon slot, but more slots you can fill up. You could, let's say, Teresos. Now would you look at that? Pretty nice damage increase. And you don't even need it linked because all your damage is going to go into your fist. You actually don't need that many links on this particular build, but the only thing hard to get would be probably this. You need a shield with +1 number of summon totems for decent damage increase, but you can always go another shield in the meantime. Okay, let's for the sake of this remove that and go with 200% more damage. Oh god, yep, that would be the damage at day 2. 1.6, not too bad. This is what I originally planned to play. I think there's a lot of room for scaling on this. You see the defenses is not too bad, which means this will do pretty okay in Crucible. There's ways to scale life even more and get maybe about 4 or 5k life. You're gonna have like 50k evasion rating and 50k armor. You're going to have probably cap res. This is just because I don't have rings and amulet filled. You can actually scale unarmed crit, right? Because you can always go here. You can always go here and go, what was it called? Rigwald's Curse. Yes, there you go. Rigwald's Curse. You can always go Rigwald's Curse. You can always start scaling crit. So there's a lot opportunities to scale damage here. You probably will see a top end damage of 10 to 20 mil, I think. Depends on how much investment you want to pour into this. And the other play for this is once you hit a certain point where you have enough resources, you can consider going artillery ballistas, and then there's going a bow build. So you can go bows instead of Dorian's Fist. You can swap that out. You're obviously going to get rid of Martial Legion. Yeah, so most of your gear will change here, and you basically transition to Rutu's artillery ballista champion build. So that's the next play if Dorian's Fist stops scaling for you. You can just go a bow build, Ellie bow build, and you should be pretty fine. You can do Ubers with that. So that was my original plan. But right now I am leaning towards this. Don't save. Okay. Right now I'm leaning towards this. Where is my Sabu? Where's my Sabu? Where's my Sabu? Holy shit. Oh god, I need to be a lot more disciplined. Oh, this one, sorry. Let's go event, yes. So this is probably one I'm going with, because I have already seen how well it scales, and I think the changes to the current patch is for the next league is going to make this pretty strong. So one thing, Heat Shiver is not nerfed. I don't know why, but Heat Shiver is not nerfed. Maybe they'll tell us later that Heat Shiver has been nerfed, but for now, if there's no news that Heat Shiver is being nerfed, I'm gonna play Heat Shiver because it's such a huge damage increase. So scaling this, Heat Shiver, Icicle Mine, Wrathpith, going a life build, you can still hit 8.2k life pretty easily. Okay, the difference as well is that instead of going Scion, Sabu obviously doesn't have phasing, which is unfortunate. I don't think it's needed anymore, but Purity Elements can be dropped. I'll probably have to get resistance elsewhere, and you can go Grace. Wait, where's my Grace? Okay, Grace. Well, that's kind of rough, but whatever. I can probably go Determination as well, right? What's my strength? Okay, so I can't go Determination. Nope, that sucks. Wait, I can't go Grace. Okay, I can go Determination. Sorry. Okay, Determination. There's probably ways to scale armor. I'll probably have to look at this again. But yeah, without Purity Elements, you can go for one defensive aura, either Grace or Determination. If you go Grace, you obviously have to drop this side, which I think it's fine. So scaling here is very good. Martial Legion, obviously with the +9 to mine damage is to mine levels is insane. Some other pieces will be swapped out. I'll give an example. Calm's Heart is cool here, but I will probably go a Shroud of Lightness. Yeah. Okay, and the reason why I'm going Shroud of Lightless is very straightforward. Shroud of Lightness has no life on it, by the way. So how does this work? The new Shroud of Lightness is going to have up to maximum of 4 sockets, right? 4 sockets for Abyss Jewels. And that 4 sockets for Abyss Jewels can have 40 life on each socket, which is 160 life total, right? But it means that the chest armor doesn't count as having life. And you know there's going to be 15% increased life. So this is going to be gone, but you're going to get 15% from the mastery, because this has no life, right? This has no life. And you're going to get 160 life because of Abyss Jewels, right? So I'll give an example. Let's say you add an Abyss Jewel. Abyss. Okay. Maximum life. Let's put it as 160 because I'm too lazy to do anything else. So this is just life alone. Yeah, life is pretty decent. 6.6 is not too bad. You're also gonna get 3% life per Abyss Jewel. So yeah, let me think here. Where's this? So there you have 4 there. I'm probably gonna stack more on your sockets as well, but let's just assume 3 times 4 is 12%. increased life maximum. You're gonna have about 7k life plus, and you're also gonna get 4% pen per Abyss Jewel. So you're gonna have like 16% pen, which is nice because the pen is global, is all LE, right? So you're gonna have pen on fire, pen on cold. That's more damage. So Shroud Lightness is going to be extremely good for this. I've already planned to have that. With Snake Pit, you can also run the jewels that allow you to bounce chain off walls. So that's pretty cool. So this is what I'm pretty much looking forward to for League start. I'm not sure how expensive Wrath Pits will be, but it's going to be Trade League. It's not going to be Ruthless. So probably going to be able to get all the things I need. All right. That being said as well, 5 million DPS, more than enough. Really more than enough. Probably get 5 million DPS in like 5 days. And it's more enough to do everything till the end of the game, except Ubers, right? And so probably this is what I'll start with. That's my assumption. I'll probably start with this, and then I'll figure things out as I go. If it turns out that Heat Shiver does get nerfed, right, then I'm going back to the Doriani's Upbreakers. I am, however, leaning more so towards the Saboteur, because I really want to play Saboteur because of the changes, right? All right, I'm pretty much out. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you at League Start.